it's Sharon Hujik with Grow Digital Pro, where women learn to launch and grow their digital marketing business so they never have to trade their time for money again. And they will never have to say, no, I can't make it home for that soccer match because I'm running late after a stupid meeting. And most importantly, you have been liberated from the silliness of corporate America so that you have the power to earn money, no matter where you want to do it and whatever part of your day you want to dedicate to it, you get the freedom to decide. Now, we're talking about the challenges that come into what happens when you are starting on this adventure. And we've talked previously about how normal it is, and we've talked a little bit about why that might be happening. And now I want to just put in front of you an idea on how powerful problem solving is. Because odds are, when you're starting out with this new adventure and you're trying to start a digital marketing company, and we talked before about how uncomfortable this is and how our brains are like being challenged to just absorb so much new, and they can either, freeze up like, I'm overwhelmed, I'm done, or they get angry, I'm, fight, freeze, run. Those are the kind of common ones, right? Whatever ones you're experiencing right now. The solution, in my experience, has been very, very fundamentally is to recognize that it's happening. Like, let me give you an anecdote. I have a background in web development. I am 100% self-taught. So after I retired from my corporate gig when my oldest son was born, I knew I wanted to be able to earn money from home. It was very motivating to me to try and figure out how to make this happen. And I decided to teach myself how to build WordPress websites. And when I say teach myself, that's silly because what I did was I scoured the internet for hours and hours, all night long, nap time hustling, everything I could do to make that happen. And what would happen is I was uncomfortable the whole time because I was doing something I had never done before. And I would be like, I'd Google something or I'd look for it. I'd try to understand it. And I would get stuck because what was the tutorial was saying was supposed to be working didn't work. And I would be staring at it and refreshing the screen and looking at it. And my brain would be screaming at me like, it's not working. You're stupid. How could you do this? You're getting paid for this. And it's going to take too long. And just all these stressor voices would be coming in. And I would get angry and frustrated and, snarl at my husband and all the things that come around when you get stressed, right? I mean, I hope I'm not the only one that, uh-oh, if I'm the only one that does that when I'm stressed out, I'm going to have to, my husband might have something to say about that. No, honestly, I'm sure you do too, right? And I'd be looking for this code and I'd be mad and I'd be, why isn't this working? And I just repeat the same steps because surely it's the computer that's causing the problem, right? Like the browser's broken or something's not right. And I would just get onto this hamster wheel loop of doing the same thing again and again and again. And I'd finally be exhausted and I would be like, okay, either I am so exhausted, I can't do this anymore, I'm going to go to sleep, or I would jump on a forum and I would ask a question, finally, does anybody know how to? Or I would, a couple of times I reached out to a mentor. Every single time I did that, not every time, 95% of the time that I did that, where either I stepped away, took a break, I posted the question on the forums to find out how to do it, or I emailed to ask a mentor, what am I doing wrong? I kid you not. Before I got the answer, I just took a break, say, okay, I'm done. I can't figure this out. I'm putting it out into the universe to find out what they're going to tell me to do. A little bit of rest, a little bit of perspective, my brain would figure it out. It was just I needed to remove myself from the intensity of overwhelm. And literally, I'm convinced it's the act of asking a question by articulating it. It was like Murphy's Law. I would ask the question and within hours of just putting the question into the form of like, how do I do this? Something about the problem clarified itself. And I was able to be like, oh, wait, me? And then boom, I could solve it. Or, I mean, at the same time, like if a mentor would be like, well, what, this is the angle you're supposed to, oh, that's it. Got it. Boom. And I could move on. It's almost as if my brain stopped working because I was so stressed. And I say that in jest because that's exactly what was happening. When we're encountered with something that is overwhelming, we freeze up, our brains stop working, and we don't see things clearly. And the art of problem solving is quite honestly a superpower when it comes to recognizing that you're stuck and then being like, okay, instead of just drilling further into my stuckness, what do I have as my resources to be able to do this? And we are living in an age where we have so many resources, and we're silly to not take advantage of them. Let me give you one example. If you are working with a hosting company, or let me even make it simpler, a domain registrar, where you have purchased your website domain, and you're like, how do I configure this so that it is pointing or connected to my website? People will be, frustrated and it's not working. And how come it's, and just really beating themselves up on it, right? But you know that they have tech support, right? Within that company, like that their whole job exists to help you figure out how to do that, to explain the process, to walk you through it, to basically have a successful customer experience. And all you have to do is open up a chat box and be like, how do I make this do what I think it is? Or you'll ask a question and they'll be like, I don't know what that means. Or do you mean this question instead? Oh, I misunderstood the process. Right, of course. What else do you have at your disposal? I mean, the internet, you have Google. Fortunately for us, the platforms that we're working on, whether it's WordPress, Elementor, Facebook, Instagram, Kajabi, email service providers, like all these different resources, they're not pioneer. They're not, they're well-established resources. There are a lot of people who have troubleshot, answered questions, experienced what you're experiencing before. I mean, YouTube alone is a wealth of information. Let's say you're like, I cannot figure out why my ad account is not communicating with my pixel. Why is this not working? You can ask Google. You can ask Google, why is this not working? And you'll probably get information. Now, albeit, the internet is not perfect and stuff is out of date and it's not the ideal, but it'll at least help you figure out, okay, have I looked at this? Okay, no, that's good. Have I looked at that? Okay, that's good. So, I mean, use the internet, use the forums and the opportunities are out there. And good night. We have a whole community of people, within our team and within our group who are ready and eager to help you. So if you're getting stuck and you're like, well, I asked the chat people, I asked the internet, and I'm still not figuring it out. Why wouldn't you ask me? That's my gig. I'm here to support you and help you figure it out. I was talking to an awesome mom. She is smart. She is a trained nurse. And she confessed to me a couple of weeks ago, like, I spent an hour trying to figure out how to do this. And she was almost embarrassed that she couldn't figure out something so simple. And I said to her, I was like, but instead of spending an hour of your really precious time, that there's a resource there. It was with Elementor to support building a website with Elementor, right? Like you could click that button or you could ask Google, or good night, you can just post a question and ask me. Any one of those three things. It's not cheating. It's not. I know we just get into this tunnel vision of like, I have to figure it out. It must be easy. I know I saw this somewhere. Problem solving is a skill, and you're going to have to flex these muscles, and you're going to have problems. Problems do not mean failure. It just means I don't know how to do it yet. But you have the superpower of being able to figure it out. And if I have to say, if there's any skill that makes an entrepreneur's life easier, is acknowledging that I'm going to have to learn how to be a problem solver. In fact, Marie Forleo has a whole book and a whole business built on the concept that everything is figure outable. I mean, everything is figure outable. There is nothing that we couldn't fix or solve or figure out when it comes to this gig, this job, that we can't tackle. And it's just acknowledging that sometimes our brains are going to get in the way. So the feeling of like, I can't do this, I'm overwhelmed, I don't know how to handle it, I'm just, okay, one, pause, acknowledge that that's existing. Give yourself a chance to step away from the problem and articulate the question that you're trying to ask. Articulate it to a support person in the company's, on the service provider. Articulate it to Google or ask us, and you'll get it. You'll work through it. It's just a little bump. It's not a derailment. It's a little hiccup and a very long roller coaster, right? And you just want to be able to persevere through it. So the art of problem solving, I promise, it's a superpower, and you're going to get good at it. All right, so take a deep breath. This is real, and you're worth it.